Hello, everyone. I'm going to show you how to use MAXQDA to analyze your focus group data. Right. So my name is Philip Adu. I am a methodology expert at the Center for Research Method Consulting. If you have any questions about how to analyze your qualitative data or do a qualitative research, we can have one-on-one consultation so that I'll be able to address any questions that you have. Today, I'm going to show you how to analyze your qualitative data. This time, it will be focus group, right? So I'm going to show you how to prepare your data for the analysis, and then we'll go to MaxQDA and I'm going to show you how to set up the demographic variables. And I'm going to show you how to create containers for the research questions and then start the coding process. Lastly, I'm going to talk about visualizing your insight or visualizing your findings. And we're going to go through about 8 ways of visualizing that. You don't have to learn all of them. You just have to choose the one that you think is useful for your study. I just want to give you the possibilities, right? And if you have any question, you can put it in the comment section and I'll be happy to address them for you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So let's start the process. So I'm going to give you a little bit information about the data that we're going to use. I've used this data before. My first video about MaxQDA, this is the data that I use, right? So this data is about responsible innovation. So the focus is finding out how they conceptualize and apply the principles of responsible innovation. We have 2 focus groups, right? 5 participants for the first group focus group and 5 participants for the second focus group, right? So in terms of data preparation, let me show you how I have arranged the focus group data so that we all be on the same page, the best way of making your data ready for analysis. So as you can see here, this is a focus group transcript. This is for the first focus group transcript, and I have 2 transcripts, right? So this one is just give it the background information about the study and also information about the participants, right? So there are 5 participants, and also a brief description about them. And then, so this is where the moderator, which is the researcher, asks questions, and these are participant responses in the group. So see the arrangement. Before you upload the focus group data into MaxQDA, you have to make sure that you have indicated the speakers, especially if you want the system to identify the speakers and what they said. It's very important for you to indicate the speakers. How do you do that? You can bring their assigned name or assigned number, or you bring the label that you have given to participant. As you can see here, I didn't indicate their names. I just brought their role and also an ID, so which is P3 here, and we have P1 here. And so you always have to put a column after participant ID, right? Why do you have to put a column? So that the system will capture that this is the participant you are talking about and this is the information. So arranging the transcript this way will help the system to identify the speakers, especially if you plan to bring demographic information into MaxQDA, right? It's very important to arrange it the way that I've arranged so that the system will be able to capture that. Now, and also you have to remove all identifiable information, their names, and any information that you think or people will cause people to know who you are talking about. So this one is not a perfect transcript because there are some names here. I should have removed that, but this one is not an actual study. This data is just a synthetic data, right? Generated for the purpose of demonstration or the purpose of teaching. So I have my transcript here for the group 1. I have the second one. Let me show you for the group 2. So this is the one for group 2. So as you can see, the same structure, the background, participant, brief information about who your participants were, and also the speakers and the column and what they said. So this is the best way of structuring it, right? When we go to MaxQDA, you will know how important arranging them in this way are, right? It's going to be very helpful for you if you arrange them this way. Now that we have gone through the transcript, we go back. Let's go to MaxQDA. So when you open MaxQDA, this is what you're going to see. The first step is to click on New, and then you'll be asked to give the name of the project. I'll say focus group project and I'll save it on my desktop and click on save. The project is ready, right? You have opened the project. Now you have to upload all your transcripts. So we have two focus group transcripts. So what you have to do is go to import and go to focus group transcript. And then you have to choose the second option because it was not timestamped. If it was timestamped, then you choose the first option. I don't have an indication of any time there for each of the speakers, so I'll choose the second option. And then I look for my two transcripts, right? You can bring one transcript at a time, but the easier way is to bring the two transcripts. So I select the two, click on open, and then this one is for the transcript one. This one is for you to review to make sure that the system has selected all the speakers that you want, right? So let me show you the transcript again so that you understand why the system has a lot of speakers here that you have to review and take some out. If the system see any column, it assumes that that information before the column is a speaker. So that's why even this one, the system I have identified as a speaker. So as you can see here, the system has identified this as a speaker. So when you come here, you can see that we have a speaker here, and then you have to review and then deselect or unselect those who are not speakers, right? So you can deselect it. You can select moderator, but I think that I don't see the need to select the moderator. If you see the need, let me know, because I want to focus on participants. So I unselect that, I unselect this, and then I leave these alone though, because these are all participants. I unselect these. So make sure that you have all your participants here. So I have make sure that they are all selected, and those who are not participant or speakers, they are not selected. Then when you finish, you go to import. Now this is for the second transcript, right? So you have to do the same thing. On select the ones that they are not participants or speakers, and then you move ahead. So I'm doing that now. So, and then make sure that you have all the speakers here. It looks like I have all the 5 speakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I go click on import. So now you can see that I have my 2 transcripts here under document. And when you click on this arrow for the focus group 2, you have all the speakers here. And then if you also click here, you can see all the speakers for the first group, right? So if you want to open the document, just double click on the document and it will show here. So this is the document, and you can see here that you see the groups, right? So it has indicated who said what, right? So you can see here that this is participant P4, and this is what participant P4 said. This is participant P2, right? So you can start the coding process from here, right? So when you finish, you can go to the group 2, double click on it, and then also start the coding process. So you have the 2 documents here. But the good thing is that if you want to see what P6 said, you can double click on that and it can pull this one information for you. So this one is called coded segments, right? It's just showing you that all what participant P6 said. So if you want to see what participant P6 said, you click on these, right? And it will show. And as you click on it, it's also showing here too, right? So that's why it's so good that you clean your transcript such a way that the system will be able to identify the speakers. You can be able to easily identify those speakers. And that's also going to help you with the demographics, right? When you bring the demographics, the system will be able to connect the demographics to their respective speakers, right? So that's what I have for you concerning data cleaning. We're finished with the data cleaning now. So let's go back to the PowerPoint and see what. So we finished data cleaning, right? The next step is to set up the demographics, right? And we have 2 ways of setting up the demographics. The first one is to do it manually by going to the system and manually setting up, like creating variables like age, gender, and other demographic information, and then you put the values in corresponding to a specific participant, right? The second option is to upload the demographic information. If you have it in Excel spreadsheet, you can upload that. So I'm going to show you the two options, and then you decide which one you want to use if you want to set up the demographic variables. So now what we can do is that, oh, before we talk about demographic variable, when you go down here too, the system has automatically created codes based on the speakers, right? So you can see here the focus group speakers, and then when you click on this arrow, you can see all the list of the speakers. You can double click on it. If you double click on it to show the same thing that shows up here, right? The coded segment. And then you can click on these rows and you'll be able to see what participant P3 said. So that's another way of also organizing the system, automatically organizing what they said based on the speakers. So the system has created containers like codes for each of the speakers, and within the containers, all what they speak, each of them said is inside the containers, right? Okay, so let's move to bringing demographic information. So if you want to bring demographic information, what do you have to do? You just click on variables, right? And you go to list of speaker variables. So you click on that and there's nothing here, right? But what you have to do is to just create your variables. How do you create the variables? So let me show you what we have. So as you can see, I have all my demographics here, the role, profession, age range, gender, and geographical location. So these are the variables that I have to create, right? So I just click on this icon and then it asks me of the name of the variable. So I'll just type role. And then you leave this one alone because, it's categorical data, right? This means that, everybody has specific role and you just have to type them in. So you leave it as test and then you click on OK. So you see that the role is here. And you can always delete if you want to take the variable out. You just can click on this one and you delete, right? I don't want to take it out, so I'm not going to delete that. So the second variable is profession. So you click on this one, right? And then you bring the profession. Let me copy that and bring it here. It's also test because it's categorical data. So I click on OK. The next one is age range, right? The age range is also a categorical data. So it's also a categorical data. So you're going to bring text here. The next one is gender. It's also a categorical data, gender. Right, and click on OK. And next one is geographical location. So I click on this icon and bring the name here and then click on OK. So if let's say you have a variable called age and then participant gave their specific age, you have to indicate integer, right? So if they gave you specific numbers for each of the variable values, then you have to use integer. If it's a categorical data, you have to use test. If it's in decimal format, then you have to choose decimal. If it's about date and if it's about two kind of option like true or false, then you choose Boolean, right? So this is these are the options. So this one I choose test and then click on OK. So you see that I have all my variables here. When you go to click on this icon, it's called data editor, right? You click here, it will have all, let's go back here. It will have all the speakers here, right? And also the group. So the group is like whether they are in group 1 or group 2, focus group, right? And other variables here that you don't have to worry about it for now, right? What we are interested in is these variables that we created. We have to bring all these values here, right? Values here, right? And I'm going to, there's another way also getting to this place. So let me close this one and show you another way. So you see data editor for speaker variables. If you click on that, you'll be able to see the same thing that I showed you. You can also click on this one. You see here, list of variables, and it will take you back to the place where you created variables. Right, right. So you can always go back here. And so if you want to see all the variables and the values, you click on this one, right? Data editor. Or if you want to see all the list of variables, you click here. You can, as I said, you can always take out the variable that you don't want, right? So let's go to data editor, and then add the values. So for the role, the first participant is Always make sure that you are, so this one is P1. That's the first participant. So click here and then you double click there and type their role. The second participant is one, so let me make sure that it's the second part. This one is the third participant, so you have to be very careful about putting the values there. So this the third participant is also innovator. So I bring that information here. The fourth, which participant is this one? The eighth participant, let me see, is a regulator. So that's how you're gonna do. You're gonna put all the information here. The same thing about the profession, you just put that information there. The same thing as age range, you just copy and paste or just type in the information here, geographical location. So that's what you're gonna do. You have to manually type all the information there, right? Then, so let me show you the second way of bringing demographics, right? There are a couple of steps that you have to follow. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So first, let me delete what I've done so far so let me take these out. I'm taking the values, the variables out because I'm going to show you how to bring the demographic inside the system. So imagine that you want to upload the demographic inside the system. You still have to go to list of speakers, right? And then you go to data editor, right? To have all the speakers and also the columns for other variables here, right? And then you're going to export. Why do you want to export? You want to export because you want to follow the same structure that the system has in here. Because if you don't follow the same structure and just upload any spreadsheet concerning the variables, it will not be able to match or it will not be able to be uploaded because the formatting is very different from what the system has. So in order to follow the format that the system has, you have to first download the format or download the template. So you are downloading the template so that you can enter all the demographic and then bring the spreadsheet back. So you see here, open as an Excel table. So I'm looking for a place to save it. So I will save it on the desktop. And then this is what you see. So this is what you see. You see all the speakers and the same information that we saw, right? So what you're going to do is that what you can do is that you can even delete all these, right? So I've deleted them, right? And then put all the demographics there, right? So I'm going to copy the titles or the column names for the demographics. So you see here, I've brought my demographic. I have to delete this one because it's important. So then you have to enter the values. You have to make sure that the P1, so I have the P1 information here. I copy that and paste it here. I have P3, I copy and paste. I have P8, I copy and paste. So that's what you have to do. You copy and paste them, and then let me show you the final product, right? Because, I don't want to take a lot of your time in this process. I just want you to know how it's done. So let me show you the final product, how it looks like. So this is how it should look, right? And imagine that you don't do this, what will happen is the system will not be able to take that information, right? Because the formatting is not the same. So always download the template and then fill up the demographics in the Excel spreadsheet, then you can upload. So now that we have this one, we can go back to a system and click, you see here, import data. You click on that and I look for that the focus group is called overview of focus group speakers, right? I click on that, I click on open, and then the system will show you want you to review, making sure that everything is fine. I'm okay with what I see. Then you see that everything has been imported now. You see the role, profession, age range, gender, and then geographical location. So you see how easy the process is if you just download the template and use the same template and put that information there and upload. Right. Now we are done with bringing the demographic information to MaxQDA. So let's go. Let's see what is next. So the next one is, I think we finished this one. The next one is, creating containers for your research question. It's very easy. So you see here that I have my research questions here, right? I want to create containers for each of the research questions. right, in MAXQDA. So how do you do that? First, you have to label your research question. So you can see here that for this research question, this is the label, conceptualizing and applying principles of responsible innovation, right? So you have to give labels to them. Why do you have to do that? The labels just remind you about the research question that you have to complete, and also it helps you to organize the codes based on the research question that you have. So let's go here and create our containers for our three research questions. How do you do that? You see codes here, you click on the plus sign here, and then I'm going to copy my first research question and put it here, right? And then you see under here, memo, code memo, you copy the whole research question, like the research question, the question itself, you copy that and put it here, just to remind you that this label, which is the container, is representing the research question one, right? When you are done, you click on, let me make sure that everything is set. Let me see here. And you click on OK. Oh, I didn't show you one thing. Let me go back again. So if you want to go back, you can right click on it and go to properties here, right? And then it will take you back. And here you can always change. I want to, make sure that you can use colors if you want. So maybe I want this color, right? Pink, right? You put it there and then click on save, right? So I go to the plus where I go to codes and I click on a plus there, and then I'm going to bring the second create container for the second research question. So as you can see here, I have my second research question. I'm going to copy the whole research question and put it under code memo. And also I'm going to choose a color. Let me choose blue, right? So I choose the blue color here and then click on OK. So I go again, the plus sign, and I'm going to bring the third research question here. Copy that, paste that, make sure that everything is right. And then I can copy and paste the question itself here and then click on OK. I have to choose a color. So I choose it and click on OK. So now I have my containers for my research question, right? And then the next process is to start a coding process. So think about coding as going through the data line by line, right? And identify information that are significant and then develop labels based on the information that you have identified. A label can be in between 2 to 5 words representing what you have extracted, and then bring that information under or the code under their respective research question, right? So a significant information is any information that can help you to address your research question. So you are going through the data because of your research question. Not all the information participants are giving you is relevant, right? That's why you have to go through and extract what you want, what will address the research question, and put it under the research question containers. So I'm going to just show you how to select information that are significant and develop codes just to know how to do it, right? So don't worry so much about the content, but imagine that when you are going through this information is significant, right? Imagine it's significant. Then you decide what label should I use to represent it. So let's assume that the label for this quotation is anticipatory ethics, right? And I think it's addressing the first research question about how they conceptualize and apply the principle of responsible innovation. So you go here, you bring the cursor here and click on the plus sign, and then you type the label, right? It's not required for you to give a description, but it's going to be helpful for you to define what you mean by this, right? So what do you mean by anticipatory ethics, right? And then, so you define what it means, and it's not required for you to define, but if you want, you can define that, and then you click on OK. You can choose a color that you want. If you don't choose any color, it will take the color that you have given to the research question. So you click on OK, and you see that this is the information here. It's an empty container because we haven't put any quotation inside. Now you drag and drop the significant information into this. Now you see that there's one significant information, and then there's an indication here that this place has been coded. So the same thing, this one is also talking about the same issue, right? So you select that And then we have already created a container that is also connected to the second quotation. So we can just drag and drop it into this container. Then we continue to go through the data. If you see anything that is significant, like equity and inclusion, addressing research question 1. So let's say this information is significant, right? Then you think about what label should I give to this information? So this one is more about collaborative governance, right? And it's addressing the first research question. So you click here, you bring your cursor here, you click on the plus sign and type collaborative. Let me bring that. You type collaborative governance, and then you can define what you mean by collaborative governance, and then you click on OK. Then you can drag and drop that information into the codes that you have created. So that's how you're going to do. You go through the process, identify information that is significant, and then drag and drop. So when you go to 22, paragraph 22, they talk about equity and inclusion, right? And this one is also addressing the research question 1. And then what you have to think about is based on the information that the person is talking about, you decide the code that you have to use. It's more about equity and inclusion. So what you have to do is to go here to the research question 1, the plus sign, and then bring that information here and click on OK and drag and drop, right? So that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go through all the transcript and do the same thing. When you finish, you can double click on the second transcript and do the same thing, go through. If information is significant, you just create container and drop that information in there, right? So the principle here is that whenever you identify information that is significant, see whether there's any code that you can drop that information into. If there's no code, you create a new code, right? And also you have to think about which research question is that information addressing. So let me show you the final product so that you see what I'm talking about. So as you can see here, I've gone through all the transcripts, right? And I've created codes for addressing research question 1, 2, and 3, right? So you see that research question 1, when you click on this arrow, you have all the codes here. Research question 2, all the codes here. Research question 3, all the codes here. I have been able to arrange everything nicely, and you can see here that there are numbers here. These numbers are the number of quotations that has been connected or put into these containers, right? So you can see here that empowering public participation and representation, you have 4 quotations or 4 significant information. If you want to see the 4 significant information, you can always double click and then you'll be able to see this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. So you can see all the quotation. You can even code it again, or you can do a visual representation like a word cloud. You just can click on this one and it will show you the word cloud for all the 4 quotations, right? And you can go to format and then change the colors if you want to change the colors. So, and then you can even export, right? Go to start here and then you can export. Yes, so we have done the first stage of the coding process where you have gone through all the develop codes representing the significant information and also addressing the research question that you have. Now, the next stage is to develop themes, right? And how are you going to develop themes? Let me show you the PowerPoint in terms of the themes development. So what you're going to do is that you're going to review all the codes under each of the research question and group them based on their similarities, right? And also considering the significant information that you have extracted, right? The significant information that you have extracted will also help you to see whether there's a connection between the codes and you group them. So you're going to have maybe 5 or 4 or 6 groups. Then you decide what name should I have to give to each of the group, right? And that name will be the theme addressing the research question. I'm going to also show you how to do it. So there's a function called creative coding function in MAXQDA that you can use. You can use to organize your code. Okay, so we're gonna use the creative coding function. So where do you gonna find the creative coding? You have to go to codes here and click on creative coding, right? And this is what you're going to see. So this one helps you to group the codes and based on similarities. And then after grouping them, then when you finish everything, it will reflect here, right? And I'm going to show you how it's done, right? So let's start with the first research question. So let me move this one up. So now the first research question, these are the codes that came up, right? So what you're going to do is that you're going to select all of them, select the first one, press on the last. You are selecting, including the container for the research question. You select, bring them here, right? So you have everything here, all the codes here. What you have to do is to examine each of the codes and group them, right? So the first step is start a grouping. So I've grouped this one together, right? So let's say you want to explore further, right? You want to see the quotations that are within each of the codes container so that in case you want to review more and find out whether these two are related, you can do that. So you can double click on it and you can see all the quotations and then review them. So if you are satisfied, you just put them aside, right? They are group one. And then you go around and see, okay, so let's see, we have collaborative governance. Collaborative governance is here. And then I see collaborative and participatory governance here too. They are quite similar. And then another one is contextual and field embedded innovation. And then it goes with community-centered innovation. So community-centered innovation, this one and that one is quite related. And then the next one is accountability and transparency. Accountability and transparency, and then anticipatory ethics can be together. Looks like this one can be alone, or you can decide it can, based on the characteristics, you can add it to one of them. So it's all about reflecting, thinking about all these possibilities of combining some of the codes and then deciding. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups, right? Now, what we have to do is to give them labels, right? So for the first group, the label that we can give to it, it could be called stewardship and accountability, right? You give a label that can represent both information. So when you decide on a label, that label will be a theme, right? So when you decide on a label, what you have to do is click on new code here and then bring that information, the label for the representing the group here. Make sure that you type theme because you want to indicate that this label is a theme. And then you type the label, right? You can also give a description, right? What does this theme mean, right? You can type the description there. You can define it. You can operationalize it. When you finish, you can even give it a color if you want to do that. Different color if you want to do that. When you are done, you click on OK, right? Then what you have to do is that you can click on link, define as subcode, right? So you click on that and then you going to press on this and link it to the code, right? And link it to the code. So you see that I've linked them, right? It's not all that. So if you want to move it, you have to click on the link again, right? And then you can move it. So you can see that I have already linked. When you link it, it's also the link between the research question and these codes vanishes, right? So then you have to reconnect the research question to the theme now because the theme comes under the research question. So you have to do the connection. How do you do that? You go back to the link here, click on that, and then I point the arrow to the theme. So now, and when I finish, I click on the link again so that I can move, right? So now I can move. Now what is happening is that the theme is addressing the research question and the codes are under the theme, the two codes. So you're going to do the same thing for the other ones. So what you're going to do is that for the equity and inclusion is alone, so you can still create a theme for that. You can click on new code and then you bring the theme here. So the theme is equitable access and outcome and click on OK. Then you go back and click, you can make sure that you bring it here and you go back and click on the link and then bring it. You see how the one that is connected to the research question will vanish, right? And now you're going to link this one to the research question to the theme because the theme comes under the research question and also the code comes under the theme. So you're going to do the same thing for the other one. So let's do one for this group about collaboration. So the collaboration, where's collaboration? A collaborative governance and collaborative and participatory governance, right? So you click on new code and bring the theme here that you have decided on, and then click on OK. The theme is here, you bring the theme back here and then connect the theme to the code. So if you want to connect, you click on link here and then bring, you see, now you're gonna bring the connect the research question to the theme. So now about two left, right? So what we have to do is we create a theme, let's create another theme that is focused on conceptual and field embedded innovation and also community-centered innovation, right? You're all talking about innovation. So you click on new code, bring the theme here, click on OK, bring the theme. You have to click on the link so that it will not highlight the link, right? Activate the link. You are not activating the links so that you'll be able to move the theme, right? So I move the theme here, and now I'm going to activate the link and then connect them to the codes and then connect the research question to the theme. So that's what you're going to do for the last group, right? So the last group is proactive ethical oversight, right? That will be the theme. So what you're going to do is that you click on, you can deactivate the link for now. You click on new code and then bring the theme, type the theme here. You can define if you want to define, you click on OK. And then I bring the theme down here and activate the link and then connect the theme to the code. And now I'm going to connect the research question to the theme. So you see here that I've grouped the codes and then develop themes and connect the theme to the code and also connect the research question to the theme, right? So when you are done, right, what you have to do is to go ahead and click here to close, or you can click on finish creative coding. So it will prompt you whether you want to go ahead. I click on yes. And immediately when you do that, the system rearrange things and all the themes will be back here, right? All the themes will move here. And you see that I have my themes for my research question one, and under that, I have my codes. So you're going to do the same process for research question 2 and 3. If you want to start with the research question 2, you go to smart coding again. And then what you're going to do is going to bring the research question 2, you select the first one, you press on shift, select this last and bring them here and do the same thing that I did, right? The same process. And at the end of the day, this is what you're going to see, right? So as you can see here, I have all my themes under the research questions. So the research question 2, I have my themes there. And then when you go to research question, this one is research question 3. You see the research question 3, I have my themes here. And then research question 2, I have my themes here, right? I've finished my coding process. I have all my themes. So the next stage is to visualize your findings. So you may be using AI to do your research, but the question is, what is an ethical way of incorporating AI into your qualitative research? This is what this seminar is all about. It's a 2-day seminar. You're going to develop customized tools that will really help you to do your research in an ethical way. And you will also develop the skill of defending the decisions and actions that you have taken in terms of incorporating AI into your research. This is going to happen in January 7th, 2026 to January 8th, 2026. It's 2 hours on the 7th and also 3 hours on the 8th. Then you're going to develop a tool called Stress Framework Assistant and also Stress Chatbot that will help you to make informed decisions as you are using AI to do your research. It's also going to generate documentation about how you use AI so that you'll be able to communicate or disclose how you incorporated the AI into your qualitative research. I put a link to this seminar in my description section. You can go there and learn more about it. And also, if you have any questions concerning this seminar, let me know. You can actually email me so that I'll be able to answer any question that you have. I'm hoping that you're going to be there and you're going to be empowered to develop your own tools that will help you to use AI in an ethical way so that you'll be able to do the research with confidence and defend the action, the decision that you make. Thank you. So the next step is to develop visual representations in terms of the result, right? As you can see here, there are more than 8 ways of visualizing your findings, right? And you don't have to do all of them, right? You just have to choose the ones that make sense to you and the one that you'll be able to communicate and add value to your findings, right? So we're going to go through all the 8 and then you can decide which one you want to do. If you have any question concerning the visual representations, let me know. I'll be happy to address them for you. So the first one is if you want to have a table that will show all the things that you have selected, all the codes that you have selected, and also the number of significant information connected to each of the codes, right? So if you want that, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to codes and then go to code statistics and then choose the second option, which is subcode statistics, right? Then what you're going to do is let me push this one back here. So this is what you're going to see, right? So what you're going to do is that you're going to bring all the research questions here. If you want to focus on the themes under the research question and see the number of significant information connected to the themes, you can bring the research question there. You can bring one of the research questions if you want, but if you want to see all of them, the themes and the frequency, then you bring them here. Make sure that coded segment is checked, right? So you check that, and then aggregate subcodes is also checked. This one is just telling you the system that all the number of significant information connected to each of the codes will be aggregated and connected to the themes that the codes are under, right? If you are confused, don't worry. When you see the diagram, you see what I'm talking about. So you click on OK, and this is the table that you're going to see. You see here, research question 3, right? Opportunities for enhanced and responsible innovation. And then these are the themes that came. So all these are the themes for research question 3, and also the number of segments, which is the number of quotations and the percentages, right? So when you click on this chart view, this is what you're going to see. You can always change the colors. When you go here, you can change the colors to the ones that you like, right? And you can also change the numbers. You can see here that there's a percentage. If you want to see both the percentage and the numbers, you can click on this one. Yes, you can click on this one to see all the percentages and the numbers, right? And so here you can see that for transparency, education and public engagement receive a lot of statements, which is 10 statements, and it followed by proactive, adaptive accountability mechanisms, right? And you can see here it's 8. So if you want to see the one for research question 1, you can click here and select research question 1. If you want to do that for research question 2, you can select and see. And you can export each of them by going to here, click on export. You can also change it to pie chart if you want to. So click here and then you can change it back to any kind of illustration or the shape that you want, right? So this is what I have for you concerning having all the themes and also the number of significant information connected to the themes, right? So let's move on to the second illustration. So the second illustration is, think about it, it's like if you want to know the source of the quotations and also the themes that the quotation are connected to, right? So you will have a table. It's quite similar to what I show you, but the main difference is that this case, you're going to have quotations in the cells, not the numbers, right? So if it's 8, you're going to have 8 quotations. And this one too, we are not going to focus on the themes. We are going to focus on the codes. So this is what we call code comparison. So you are comparing the codes based on the significant information or the segment that the codes has, right? So let's say you want to compare codes based on the evidence that you have. You can use this kind of table, right? So you click on the code tab and go to code comparison, and then this is what you're going to see. So let's focus on only research question 3. And this time we are not going to select themes. We are selecting the codes under the themes, right? And let's select like only 6 of the codes here under research question 3 and go to click on OK. And then this is what you're going to see. So this one is showing, so for the columns are the themes or the codes, right? All these are the codes that we selected, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 codes. And you see that this code is connected to one document, and then it also connected to three coded segments. So you can see three significant information here, and then it's connected to one of the document, but we don't know which one. Which document do you think is connected to? We don't know. If you want to know, you can uncheck one of them, and you can see that it's connected to this document, the focus group one transcript, right? And then if we uncheck that and we check this one, we see that this one is connected to focus group 2, right? So you see which one is connected to, and if you can also download it, right? You can export it by clicking on this icon so that you'll be able to export and then use this information. This one will help you to really compare the evidence and based on the codes that we have. The only limitation is that this one doesn't show the themes, but it shows if you want to compare codes, not the themes, right? This one will be helpful for you. So let's go to the next one. So the next one is, let me show you here. So the third one is case versus codes with segment. So think about this one. Think about cases as document or cases as speakers, right? And let's go through and then see how it looks like. Right now, maybe it might be difficult for you to know what exactly I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is that we go to analysis, right? And then we go to compare cases. We look for compare cases here, right? You say this one, you are comparing cases, right? So technically you are comparing documents, right? So we have only two cases. We are comparing two documents. And then you're going to choose qualitative coded segment, right? So you choose that. And then this time you're going to bring the document here, right? So I'm going to bring this document and then maybe I'll bring the second document, right? So this is two focus groups. And then this one is asking you to drag codes, right? So I'm going to drag one of the codes here, the first code under the theme and the second code under the same theme, right? And then I click on OK and see what I got, right? So you can see here that I have, when I did that, it also brought the theme connected to these two codes, right? And then you can see here that when it looks like there's no connection of these themes to the focus group 2, right? But there's a connection with focus group 1, right? So this is what you can see here. And when you click on the second one, it also shows that the segment related to these themes or these codes are connected to focus group 1. So it helps you to know the source of the quotation, whether it's from one document and another. So this one, you are comparing documents based on the quotation related to a specific code. I don't know whether this one will be useful for you, but this is an option for you to explore, right? Let's try another one again. Let's close this one. I'm going back again to analyze and then compare cases or groups. Click on qualitative coded segments. And this time I'm going to clear this list and bring the themes instead and see whether it will work. So I'm bringing the themes for research question 1 and see whether it will work. And I click on OK. See here, it doesn't work because the theme technically doesn't have the quotations. It's the code that have the quotations. So you see why it doesn't work, right? So always bring the codes instead of the themes when you are trying to compare document, right? So normally you bring these codes here, right? So let's do it again. We go to analyze, compare cases. You choose the qualitative one. You bring these ones back, you clear that, and then only bring the codes, right? So I only bring the codes and then click on OK. And this is what you're going to see. When you bring the code, it also bring the themes, right? And then when you try to collapse the codes under each of the themes, you see that the numbers will change here. Now it's 0. When you collapse it, it's 6. When you collapse this one, it's 8. You collapse that. So you collapse this one too, collapse that. Right? So if you collapse that and you click on that, it's now showing all the quotation connected to the theme, right? Because the system has aggregated all the individual significant information under a specific theme, right? So if you want to really show the themes that are connected to a specific quotation, then you have to bring the individual codes there, here, and then when you bring them here, it will also bring the themes back here, right? Then you can even export it when you export it to show the themes there too, right? So this is what I have for you. I don't know whether this one is going to be useful, but this is what you can get and explore. So let's go to the next one. The next one is about comparing cases with code frequency, right? So we're going to go to analysis and click on compare cases. And this time we're going to choose quantitative because we want to see the number of significant information connected to a specific code that is also can be connected to a case, which is a document or a transcript. So you click on the quantitative option there. And then now I bring the two documents, right? And I also choose the codes that I'm interested in. I'm choosing all the codes that I'm interested in, right? And then clicking on OK. And this is what you're going to see, right? This one is giving you the percentage. You can, there's a way of changing it to numbers. So you want to click here. So when you look at all this theme, right? 3 significant information are connected to this theme. And also the significant information is also from this transcript, which is focus group 2. And then if you want to know, this one is also from focus group 1, right? So you can see that focus group 2 talks more about this concept than focus group 1. Focus group 2 talks more about this concept than focus group 1. So if you want to compare the groups based on the specific themes or code, this one, it will be very useful for you, right? And you can always export it by clicking on export, right? I hope this one was helpful. If you have any question, let me know. If you want to compare the two groups based on the themes that you have, this visual representation will be very helpful for you. So let's go to the next visual representation. Okay, so the next one is trying to compare themes based on the demographic information, or trying to compare demographic information based on a theme. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to click the Mix Method tab and go to Segment Matrix and go to Segment Matrix for focus groups. Before you create the matrix, right, segment matrix, you have to first choose the themes or the codes that you are interested in, right? How do you choose? Let's say we want to focus on research question 2. You click on the arrow here to show all the themes, and then you can activate the themes that you are interested in by selecting them. So you see here I have activated the themes, right? By selecting them. So you see here when I activate the things, the subcodes under has also been activated, right? So I've activated all the themes. Then, because that's what I'm interested in, if you're interested in all of them, you can activate all of them. So you go to segment matrix. You choose the second option, to segment matrix for focus groups. And then you bring the variables that you are interested in, right? I want to explore the agenda. I double click on gender. I indicate female. I double click on gender again. I indicate male because I want to compare the male to the female. I also am interested in geographical location. You double click on that. You choose the first option, right? You double click, you choose the second one, you double click and choose the third group, right? So you see here that I'm interested in geographical location and gender, and I have all the groups here, and I go to click on OK. You can see here that this is showing only the ones I have activated, right? I activated the themes and all of the themes are here, right? And you see the numbers here. These numbers are the number of significant information connected to each of the codes or the number of segments connected to each of the themes, right? So when you click on this one, it shows all the 10 significant information and where they are connected, right? So you can see here that for the 10, one of them is connected to females, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 are connected to the males, right? And then there's nothing for rural, and then there is one for significant information connected to the urban, and then there's one for suburban, right? So you can see here that you'll be able to, the good thing about this one is it helps you to know all the significant information and which of the groups are connected. Now you can even compare the groups, and you can see that concerning this theme, males were talking more about this theme compared to females, and also people in an urban area were talking more about this theme compared to people who are not in the urban area. So you'll be able to do some comparison based on the themes. You can do the same. You can click here and see how the themes, the significant information that have been distributed based on the groups that you have, so that you'll be able to compare. And you can also export. When you export, all the information will be in on one Excel spreadsheet. Let's export and see how it's going to look like. So I click on export, and then I say I'm trying to save it on the desktop so that we can see how it will look like. So I'm going to the desktop, and let me open that. Okay, so this is how it looks like. You have all the significant information connected to the themes, and then also under each of the groups that you have, right? So that you can be able to compare. This one will be very helpful for you, especially if you want to show people all the significant information and their connection with a specific group and also the theme. So this one will be very helpful for you. You can also give it to your supervisors for them to review all the significant information and the themes that they are connected to. So let's move to the next one. Let me close this one. And as I told you, not all of them will be useful for you. So you choose the one that will be useful and then present that information or do further analysis. So the next one, let me show you. The next one is you are trying to compare the themes or the codes. You want to find out the connection between the themes or the code with the variables, right? In this time, it's not about a segment, it's about the frequency, right? The frequency, the number of significant information connected to a specific theme and also variables. So let's see what we're going to find. So we're going to use a cross tab. When you go to Mix Methods, you click on Mix Method tab and you go to a cross tab and choose the second option, which is cross tab for focus group. And this is what you're going to see. It's quite similar to what you have done for segment metrics, right? But this time you are not focusing on all the quotations, right, being there in the table. You are focusing on number of quotation or number of segments. So let's try to use the same variables, right? We have gender and also we have geographical location. If you don't want that, you can click on this one to take them out and bring new ones. So maybe you can focus on gender and then profession. So we double click on profession, and then you bring the variables that you are interested in related to the profession or the groups that you are interested in. So I was fast to click on this. Let's go back again. So I go here, go to cross tab so we have selected one for one of the professions. We're going to go back again, double click on profession, and then select the second one, right? I think we have a lot of options for profession. So let's do only three groups for now, right? And then click on OK. And this is what you're going to see. So as you can see here, this one is showing the number of significant information connected to a specific variable or a specific group under a variable. So you see the gender, you see the themes here, and the number of significant information, right, connected to that. So this one will help you to know which group is more connected to a specific theme, right? You can see that males were more connected to this one. Females were more connected to this theme, knowledge understanding deficit, right? So you can export it by clicking on this one to export this table. If you want to see the percentage too, you can click on it to see the percentages that the percentage here there, but sometimes very confusing to me, so I like seeing the numbers instead of percentages. So we are going closer to finishing. So what's the next one? So the next one, that's the seventh one, is when you want to compare the themes with the focus group speakers, right? And then we want to see the frequencies, the number of statements from each of the speakers, right? So let's see whether this one may be useful for you. Let's assume that you want to only focus on maybe these groups, right? Only the activated group, right? Then when you go to that place, you can select only for activated codes or only for activated speakers, right? So this time we are not focusing on any activated or selected codes or selected speaker. So we just go to here, code matrix browser, and then this time we choose focus group, right? Speakers, and then we uncheck this one because we haven't activated any speaker, right? We want all the speakers. We click on OK, and let's see what we're going to find. So you can see here that it shows all of the research questions and the themes under them, right? So you click here, you can see all the themes, right? For research question 3, the same thing here, all the themes for research question 4. So the bigger the circle, the higher the frequency, the number of statements that are connected to a specific speaker, right? So you can see here that this number of statements connected. I think you can also change things to numbers by clicking on here. You can change it to some percentages, right? So you have a lot of options here, right? So if you want to show the number of statements from a specific speaker connected to a specific theme, this table will be very helpful for you. So let me see. Let's go to the last one. So the last one is about word cloud. And there are many ways of generating word cloud, right? So let me show you one easier way of generating word cloud. So you can, let's say you select all of the documents, right? Let's select all of the document, the 2 documents here. We have activated them, right? Selected all of them. We select all the codes. So we click here to select all the codes. All the segments will be here. All the quotations will be here, right? If you want to create a word cloud based on all the significant information you have coded, you can just click on this one, right? And then it will create a word cloud for you. That is all here, and you can go to format and make any adjustment that you want in terms of the color and anything that you want to make, right? That will be useful for you. Also, let's say you want to focus on only one theme, right? You can click here to clean all the activated places, and maybe you want to focus on only this theme, right? So that's only one of the themes and the segment here, and you can also create a word cloud concerning that, right? So that's what you can do here. If you want to create a word cloud too, you can still go to Visual Tools and click here to create word cloud. Here you can bring the document that you want to help create. So let's say you bring this document, right? And then you click on, so it will create a word cloud based on the document, right? So you have many options when it comes to word cloud. You can do it in many places that you want to do. Another visual representation is word cloud based on segment. I think we have already done that. The word cloud based on, the word cloud based on code. So you see here the code cloud, right? So you can click here and then bring the document to your, so this is the document, the focus group document here, right? The second focus group. And then let's say I bring a code here. I bring some codes here, right? And then if you brought a theme, you have to check this one, aggregate subcodes, right? So let me clear the list here. Let's say I want to bring the themes. I have to check this place and bring only the themes, right? And then click on OK. And this is what it will create, right? You can always adjust it so you can see that this theme is bigger, right? So you can do it based on a specific theme. So that's a very good visual representation you can also explore. This is what I have for you. Let me know whether you have any questions. I'll be happy to address them for you. Thank you so much for your time.